Hello and welcome everyone, this is Shanna. Now I'm going to be working on the Kendra's Card Challenge 13, and this is my third set, and these are sketches 8 through 15 that I'm going to be working on today. Now this is going to be my final set. This is going to go into my entry for March. I've already submitted one for January and one for February, and this set, upon completion, will go into the March folder, and I will have completed 3 full 15 card sets. In addition to this, I have also created several other one-off cards that I've made along the way, but this will be my third set of 15. So I'm just working on sketch 8 here, and this is one that says build a scene. And I'm using the February 2024 bonus downloadable that Kendra provides for her patrons. And I have I downloaded it, I printed out all the papers, and I cut them according to the sketch guides. So this floral, the sprinkle paper, and the ombre pink, and then this scene all came from that downloadable. Now, if I remember right, I think you got 4 separate scene pages, or not pages, but panels, in which you can create scenes. And so I'm just going to bring this one in here, and I'm just laying the paper according to the sketch, and I've decided to just use my card base as my first panel. So much is covered, I didn't see wasting another panel for that, so I'm just going to use my card base, and I'm going to lay my scene down there, and you can see I've got a little grassy area, and then I've got a real pretty blue sky with some clouds, and I am bringing in my little turtle from my Crafty Advent Calendar for 2023 from Spellbinders. And this Advent Calendar had just the cutest little dies in it, and I don't want to forget to use them. And so I'm bringing it in and using some of those pieces. On the first 7 cards that I did use some elements from the Crafty Advent Calendar as well. But I'm going to use more with these last 15. And I just think they're so cute. I mean, there's just such a variety of, and there are some pretty small dies in there. So if you've got some of the card bases that don't have a lot of room, this is a great little set to use. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just putting another layer on that birthday party hat, just because my turtle has multiple layers on it and I want it to lay flat. So I just went ahead and added another layer, and I'm getting him laid down on there. Now I did do all the assembly of my dies in advance just to try and save time. I mean, this is going to be a lengthy video just because we're doing 8 cards. So it's going to take a minute. And then I didn't cut the paper exactly right, so I snuck that little sentiment in right down there at the bottom, and it kind of covered up, and you can't tell that I didn't do it right. I just took my little glue eraser and took some glue off. So that was sketch 8. Now we're going to bring in sketch 9, and this is one of them that has the little strips that you're going to add. Now this hot pink panel I took and embossed, excuse me, I can't talk. I embossed this with one of my Spellbinders embossing folders. I'll link everything in the description box below. This is the one that has all the birthday candles on it. And I'm just going to get it laid down on my card base, and then I'll begin building this card. Now the first piece just calls for a piece of your pattern paper, and this is just that yellow and hot pink dot paper that was included as part of the downloadable bonus. And then I'm bringing in a blue piece and all these little strips that I have cut. And I think once I get going on it, I decide that I need some more, so I grab some more scrap. There are plenty of pieces left over when you cut your bonus printable that you can certainly use the additional scraps and such on your card. So there's plenty of pattern paper left for that. I actually think I had, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 sheets that I didn't cut into, that I didn't select. You've got lots of options on this bonus printable to pick out the pages and the patterns that you like, and I think there were a couple of them that I didn't choose. There was a green and yellow one, and then there was a blue kind of marbly, blue and yellow kind of marbly one. I don't think I picked it. And I'm trying to think, and the striped one, I don't think I brought it into this. So I think I had 3 extra pieces, but I can see using them on other things, so that you get a lot of pattern paper in that bonus printable, so that you'll have lots of options to make your choices for your card panels. So this is where I'm kind of getting toward the bottom, and I'm cutting off, I guess I cut them off and then added them on there so that I'd have enough. And then you just trim these up, and then you've got a little striped panel. And if you don't like the strips that are there, you can always bring in something else. You'll see me do that on another card in a little bit. So I'm just going to get this one laid down beside there, and then I'll bring in the rest of my card elements. There were lots of sentiments that also printed out with this downloadable printout. There were several sentiments, and they were all strip sentiments, and so I'm going to be using some of those throughout. And this one here says, let's celebrate. You know, we've got the birthday candle, so it looks like a birthday card. Now, I went to look at it, and I'm like, I glued that on there upside down. So I brought in another card base, and I'm laying this extra piece on the inside, and then I'm going to lay it down on that card base. And I had to trim it up a little bit. Have you ever done that? Put your card panel on upside down? I've done it probably a handful of times when you're not paying attention. And usually I'll double check myself to make sure. Now, when you're doing a lot of cards, you get a lot of glue, so you're going to see me clean up my desk throughout. And my fingers get pretty sticky too, because I'm kind of a messy crafter from a glue standpoint. So I love this swirl pattern. I thought this was really, really pretty. And I think this is the one. Oh, no, this isn't. This is, you can see this is something I've stamped out and decided not to use. So I'm just going to lay it down for a panel. I don't like to waste. I like to make my materials go a long way. So I try to use everything I've got. So this one is the strip one, and I'm just going to get these all laid down. And I actually get them laid in the manner in which they've cut. When I look at them, it looks like that herringbone pattern seems to flow just with a little gap between it. And then I drop that. See what I mean about being a messy crafter? I decided it would be best to put the bottom one down before I put that other middle one down. And so in the process, I dropped it and got a bunch of glue on my glass mat there. Now this white panel that I'm gluing this ombre panel to has got some blending on the back of it. You'll see when I go to glue it that there's some ink blending on the back side of it. So that's another piece that I had used for something in my craft room. And here I'm just quartering my circle down. I'd already halved it, but I needed to quarter it. And so I just took it to my guillotine and trimmed it down. And I'm just going to get it laid down on there. And I think it says, today is all about you. And you can see the blending there, the ink blending. So I'm just going to get that laid down on there, and you'll never know. I think that was from a Spellbinders stamp and die set, that sentiment there. And then I brought in, from my Crafty Advent Calendar, there was a little gift box with a little bow that came with your little car. This gift was, I think, designed to sit on the roof of the car for Christmas when you're toting all your Christmas presents to your destinations. But I thought it'd be cute to add some blue and white packages to that open area on the card panel. And so that's what I'm doing here. And like I said, there's a lot of little small dies and that you can make little die cut pieces that can fit into the different areas of the card challenge. So I've got a blue gift box and a white gift box. And then I've got the lids for both, but I'm going to alternate the lids. I'm going to put the white lid on the blue box and the blue lid on the white box just to have a little interest, just to be a little bit different. And then I'll put my bows on top. I'm just kind of rubbing it on my fingers so that the glue's not heavy and gets all over my card panels and makes them look messy. And that's how I get my fingers all sticky and gluey, and I have to clean them off periodically as I'm doing this, because if I don't, then I get stuff stuck to my fingers. I really liked how this one turned out. I'm going to bring in some embellishments. The sketch does call for 3 embellishments in between those two middle panels. And I'm going to put a couple in there, and then I think I'll put a couple on the quarter circle as well, just to add just a little extra interest. Now these are just a little bit lighter than my blue pattern paper, but I think they blend very nicely. And I believe these came from Trinity Stamps, these embellishments here. I really like that hot pink with that blue combination. I think it's really pretty and I like it. So let's move on to the next one. And we've got, it looks like card 11 here. And we've got some of that plaid, and we've got the blue herringbone and then the swirls. And I brought in a cardstock of just some blue that kind of matched the herringbone pattern. And again, I'm going to forego the layering panel and just lay it right down on my card base. You really don't see much of it, and I had it cut, I think I had it cut short so it didn't really trim the paper out anyway. So I just decided to forego that and just lay this down and lay it straight down on my card base. And I'll save some cardstock doing it that way. Just trying to get everything lined up. And I think the different patterns on there kind of makes it hard to line up. You think you're crooked, but when you're really not. And it's just because you've got swirls and plaids and herringbone. So you've got a variety of things, but I think I get it on there all right. Just getting that laid down. And then I'm going to bring in another one of her sentiments, but I'm going to bring in a die where I had a banner cut, and I'm just going to put my sentiment on top of it. And then I'm going to grab some of that 1/8 of an inch foam tape and just pop it up a little bit and just add a little bit of dimension on there. And this is going to be a quick thanks card. Our next is 12, and on this one I am going to just bring in a blue panel. It looks like my card base it wasn't lining up right, so I'm going to get the bone folder and straighten it up and then get my panel laid down on here. Now this one I'm going to bring in an item from the Crafty Advent Calendar. It has a small little floral die set that's multiple pieces, and you can layer it up. And I've just chosen to layer it with all the different colors that I'm using on this particular card base. I've got that pink ombre, hot pink ombre panel there that I'm going to lay it on. So I'm going to bring in the blue, the yellow, and the green and my flower just to kind of help tie that pattern paper in. And then we'll just lay that ombre panel down. I'm just cleaning the glue. It's just everywhere. And we'll get it laid down on there. Now this has a nice edge around it. I was thinking, and I might even kind of motion it, that maybe I should have used an embossing panel on that. And that could have been nice. And there's my little flower. And I'm going to put it where the sketch shows that a circle goes, a circle die cut. And I thought, well, this floral's very circular, so I'll just put it there. And then I'll just bring in another one of Kendra's sentiments that were included with the downloadable. And I think it says sending hugs. And yeah, and that's where I'm motioning that I probably could have embossed that bottom panel and added some additional interest to it. Once again, I'm cleaning the glue off my desk so that I can work on the next cards. Seems to be a common theme of mine is craft clean, craft clean. So I really like this one too. Now I embossed this panel, and I think this is it might be the Christmas wrap embossing folder from Spellbinders. I think it is one of the holiday ones if I'm not exactly right, but I think it's really pretty and I thought it would work nice. I think you could use it any time of year. Now this one's got a pretty good piece of that sprinkle paper, and the sprinkle paper does have the hot pink on it, so everything will tie together nicely. And I'm going to get it laid down on there and then just continue building my layers. Today we actually got up to, I don't know, 50 some degrees, and the sun was shining and it was beautiful. In fact, the last 2 or 3 days we've been able to get out take walks. I put the boys in the stroller and actually took them for walks. We went to the library yesterday and had a fun day and played outside. And so it's really been nice to be able to get out in February in Indiana and just have a light jacket on, which is very unheard of for us. I mean, February can be just a beastly month for us. Now, I've decided that I need to, I'm going to need to layer this circle up so that it lays flat, because I've got multiple layers of panel there. And so I go ahead and just hack off a side of that, because I know I've got to have a blunt edge on it. And then I just use the scrap from that and lay it down. And that'll help me to level that off. And I think that worked out just fine. I didn't have to use any other paper. And I just did it that way. And I kept this a fairly big circle die. And then I'm just bringing in another one of Kendra's sentiments, and I'm just going to lay it across there. And it says, congratulations. So I think that turned out really cute. Now, let's see. Oh, this one is super sweet with this ice cream cone. This was another one of the Crafty Advent ones. Now, this is where I'm looking at this pattern paper, and I'm like, I don't like this. I'm not liking this on there, and I'm not going to be happy with it. So I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to go and I'm going to grab some strips, and this takes a minute. I've got my guillotine just off to the side, and I'm grabbing, found me a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to start hacking some strips and throwing them up there on the card. And I'm just going to lay those other ones aside, because I don't feel like they match with the panel. And I want it to be something that I like and that I would enjoy, so I'm going to just modify it. And you're completely at liberty to modify your sketches. You can still enter cards in that you've modified. The sketches are just designed to be a starting off point for you. And then you can just make them your own. And that's what makes it so fun, is if you go into those folders on Kendra's Card Challenge Facebook and go into the actual folders, you can just go in there and browse and get so many ideas, because, there's so many different cards in there, and the way, so many different ideas for how to use it. And so it can be a great inspiration place. So I would recommend that if you haven't looked in those folders, that you spend some time looking in there and checking out the cards. It's always fun. And then also watching what people post. I always try to comment as much as I can, just to give encouragement and feedback to everybody. And plus, I want to see that inspiration. So here, this one calls for a couple layers of circled eye, and I'm just going to put my little ice cream cone on there, and I'm going to lay it right in the middle of that center, and then I'm going to lay my circle pattern on my card, and I think I'm going to pop it up. Yeah, give myself a little bit of dimension. And I think I chose not to even put a sentiment on here yet. I liked this one, and I thought it would probably be a birthday card or something, but I thought I'd just hold off and see what I think in regard to what sentiment I want to put on there. But I think this one is super cute. I love it. That little ice cream die that was included in the Advent calendar, I love. So I'm just opening it up, looking inside, and we're going to get one. I think this is our last one. And this one, I've got 3 of the little balloons that came as part of the Crafty Advent calendar with the turtle. Actually, there was one balloon with a turtle, but I die cut it out into 3 different colored balloons. And I've got that plaid paper again that's going to go on here. So I've decided to do a green, a yellow, and a blue balloon. And so I think, yeah, what I did was I decided not to use that plaid again, even after I die cut those balloons out. And I got another piece of that ombre pattern paper and just mimicked what I had with the other pieces. So the sketch must have called for 2 pieces of a pattern paper and then one of another and then one of another, so that you had 3 different ones on there. But I decided to go 2 and 2. So I just grabbed some of that extra, cut it off, layered it up, and we're going to have more uniformity in the stripes. Now I'm just taking that card panel and brushing everything off out of the way. I like the pink and the blue together. I think it looks good on there.
And then we're going to layer these up. Oh, this is, it calls for 2 layers, 2 base layers, and then you're going to bring in your ombre panel. And I took that ombre panel and I embossed it with the little dot embossing folder that was included in the Crafty Advent Calendar. And I actually debossed it instead of embossing it. It was by accident, but I think it was a happy accident. Sometimes it's fun to do things a little bit differently than what they're meant for. So I actually just put it in there backwards and ran it through my embossing machine, and I thought, I'm not going to cut another one, I'm going to use it. And so instead of having some popped up circles, I've got some indented circles on this. And I think it looks all right. And it doesn't, that little embossing folder was not wide enough for that panel. And so what I did was I just made sure I spaced it to where I had it even in there so that I would have a nice little frame around there. Now I'm going to use 2 sentiments on here, and I've got to cut it down because I've got a little bit of yellow on the edge there. I didn't cut it quite right with my guillotine. And I'm going to line these up and cut them so that they're the same size. And then this was pointless because then I decide to stagger them and I trim them a little bit more. Now I'm going to get my little balloons and I'm going to get them laid down on there. And I think I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. Yeah, I'll make a little puddle of glue. Sometimes when you've got something that thin, I'd rather just drag it through a little bit of glue and then kind of wipe it off so that it doesn't make a mess. And those little strings on those balloons are so thin that it just felt like a puddle of glue would be better than trying to run my glue runner on there, or my glue on there. So that's what I'm doing. I like to do that sometimes, it just seems helpful. And my little yellow balloon, I'm going to pop it up a little bit higher, and I think that looks cute. And you can see I'm using now I've switched to my glue press and I'm using it. So I've got the happy birthday. Let's celebrate is what I've got on there. And I've decided I'm going to stagger it. And then I actually think, since I'm laying over those balloon stems, I'm just going to put foam tape on either side of it and glue in the middle. And I think it'll lay a little bit better that way. And I do both of those panels like that. This was really a fun set. These bonuses are just a lot of fun. If you don't get them, you have to be an all access or VIP member from Kendra's patrons to be able to get them. But they sure are fun. They're really fun to play with. I hope you liked my cards. I enjoyed making them and making the video. And I'm going to clean my desk one more time because cleanliness is very important. And I'm going to bring my cards back in, and I don't want to get glue on the backs of them. So we'll just run through the cards. Here was the, I guess, sketch 8, sketch 9, sketch 10, sketch 11, sketch 12, 13, 14, and 15. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye now.